Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle Podcast, where we share stories that highlight the incredible story of our local business owners who are driving the success here in Huntsville. And today I'm really excited because I want to learn more about our guest. Her name is Veronica Cram. She's from InSight Strategic Solutions, and she's a powerhouse. She's helping businesses streamline their operations and achieve sustainable growth. Not that one-time growth, that sustainable stuff we're all looking for. Veronica, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about today.
Oh, yeah. Like we talked about before we got on the air, we have a lot of mutual people in common that are friends and colleagues. So I'm really excited to get to know you better. So we'll start with this. So how do you simplify the concept of what you do so it makes sense to your potential clients? What's kind of your go-to explanation of what you do?
Wow. So that's a great question. I struggle with that myself, like my elevator pitch, right? So the short answer is I don't have one, but I will try to quickly explain it. So I get to coach clients on, how to read their financials, understand it, yada, yada. That's kind of boring. But also on what business decisions need to be made, what pivots need to be taken on the operational side that are going to help them reach their financial goals. I have an example because I always think stories help to really kind of solidify what I do. I had an HVAC client who came to me wanting to sell his business. He said, I want to sell within a few years. Let's kind of improve our numbers. I quickly looked at his financials and I said, your margins just aren't where they need to be. Like, this doesn't make sense. What you're telling me. You're telling me your pricing is here and your pay rates for team members are here. Like, that's something's not computing there. And so we did some digging and we found out that when a service call would come in, the dispatcher would send out, let's just say it was a mid-level type of work job. Well, she would send out who was available. And if it was an entry-level person, we're paying this guy to go all the way out there. He'd get out there. It's like, I don't know how to do this. So then they'd have to call another person out there. Well, now you can't charge the customer for two people. It's our fault, right? So there was that issue. And then there was the opposite where we would send somebody very senior level, 20 years experience to something any Joe off the street could have done, right? And I said, well, that's where your margins are being lost. So we kind of talked through it and we implemented like a military SEAL type system where there were 6 different levels of service techs and they all had different colors, different pay bands. We posted it up in the break room with the poster and they have the yellow, green, purple, blue. Everyone wore a pin to say what color they were. And it was amazing. The margins and profitability increased like that. The dispatcher then knew if I get a call for this type of service that's in yellow, I'm sending out someone that's yellow, and if nobody's available, I'll go 1 step higher, but never 2 steps higher. So that was amazing. But what was also amazing is it helped with employee retention because then they held the power of how much money they made because they knew every Friday a manager was made available for them to get their skills checked off on. So they controlled how quick they could move to the next level. And so it was like a win-win, right? It's a win for the company. It was a win for the team. And ultimately, I helped my client exit and sell his company. So that's kind of how I meld the financial piece, right? The margins to actually what's happening day to day in the business and how we can actually change that. Other than let's increase prices, because that's usually the go-to. It's like, I need to increase prices. But sometimes the market just doesn't take that.
Wow. That's a great answer. That's a great illustration. I think he's like you're talking about, facts tell, but stories sell. It's kind of a thing we've already talked about in business world that how you hear that story, like, oh, that makes sense. Because I wonder how many businesses went out of business because of something like that. They're just almost that invisible, what's going on here until someone outside comes in and breaks down for it. That's so valuable for you to come in there and do that. So we were talking about you have a variety of business you work with. You're talking startups all the way up to multi-million-dollar businesses. So do they have common challenges that you help them overcome, or is it kind of specific to what they're going on in their own industries?
There's common challenges, right? But I would think, what they all have in common is that they're willing to be coached and listen, right? So it's not necessarily an industry, it's more of a mindset. I'm helping the business owners overcome that feeling of being alone, making the big decisions like, when do I make the next hire? What should the next hire be? Should I invest in this marketing plan? My accountant's telling me I'm profitable and I owe taxes, but where the heck is my money? I can't even afford payroll, right? So, or I want to put together an incentive plan for my employees. It's like the people who are looking for coaching and looking for advice versus just like putting their finger up in the air, like those are the ones that really seek out my guidance and become my ideal client.
That's such a key to life, being coachable. Something so simple, but it's not very common, unfortunately. That's a big
Uh,
thing I wanted to pass on to my own son that, hey, man, be coachable and you'll go far in life. So I'm glad you found those people. Because it doesn't matter if you have the greatest advice in the world, business advice in the world, if they're not going to follow it in one ear and out the other. So be
Absolutely.
coachable out there, kids. So you've lived in some pretty differing areas: New Mexico, Baltimore, Huntsville. Why did you decide on Huntsville for your business?
So I was actually from Huntsville. So I did middle school and high school here. And I was one of those native Huntsvillians, Joe, that said, I am never going back to Huntsville. Have you
This
heard
guy
that
too.
before? Okay, you're one.
Yeah, that's this guy too.
And so I left. So I was gone for 12 years. I was in Texas and New Mexico and Baltimore. I ultimately came back and I love Huntsville and I could not imagine being in any other community. There is a wide variety of support for small businesses. We all support each other, or at least the ones that I get to hang out with. But also, with that said, about 2/3 of our clients are outside of the North Alabama area. A lot of our clients are up in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. With technology, we're not limited anymore by our physical location. And so it's really an added bonus because I get to bring the stories and experiences that I get up there and I get to bring them here too. And our local clients just love getting out of their office and coming to ours because they don't need team members overhearing financial tidbits and bonuses and all that other stuff, right? So it kind of gets them out of the weeds and being interrupted for little things and like, let me go focus on my business. Let me go see Veronica.
I bet you get a lot more visits during the winter from Pennsylvania. Those winters are rough up there. I mean, I bet you, hey, we got to make the trip to Huntsville.
They are. But what's great about going up north is I can go up there just for 1 week and I can knock out like 5 to 10 client visits, just depending. And so I get to that in-person experience. I mean, I love Zoom, I love technology, but being in the office and interacting with the teams, I mean, that's what that's what just makes your heart go flutter and do all the great things. It's you're actually making an impact and you're changing people's lives. So that to me is immeasurable, right?
For sure. Yeah, you got to get that face to face. I'm with you. I mean, obviously, we're doing this over technology right now, but that face to face is so important. I mean, that's just human beings. That's just how we are. So you've got a very diverse background as far as your experience across, nonprofit healthcare clinics, vehicle fleet management, manufacturing, defense, for-profit education. I mean, that's a pretty good list right there. How does that kind of set you apart with what you can help with your clients with?
Yeah, so it's given me the clarity that all businesses at the end of the day are the exact same. And trust me, some owners cringe when I say that, and that's okay. It just means they're not for me because all owners need data that's going to help them make the best decisions to run their business. Like every owner, right? Whether it's a restaurant needing to know what their margins are at a specific time slot on Mondays, a gym owner wanting to know which classes are most profitable, a clinic needing to know how many time blocks to allot for follow-up appointments or last minute emergencies, right? All these things, they affect the financials. And so it's through me going and working in all of these industries in different roles that really taught me that at the end of the day, businesses are the same. They're making decisions based off of data. And so making sure that my clients have the data that they need to make their decisions to reach their goals, like that's why I'm here.
There you go. No cookie cutter approach. It's specific
No
to
cookie
you.
cutter.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some out there. I know you're going to talk trash about them, but there's some out there that everyone gets handed the same plan. It's out there. You know it. I know it, but it's okay. But that's not what Veronica's doing out there. You're going to get a specific to you approach, and that's what you need. So when you look at kind of referral partners for you, are there specific, industries or businesses that work best for you to refer you out?
I would say about 90% of our clients have come from clients because owners hang out with other owners and they talk and they say, Joe, I don't know how I'm going to make payroll. Joe, I don't know about this. And they're like, you know what? Call Veronica because she helps me through it. So I would say my number one referral partner are just my clients. And that to me is immeasurable. I mean, I just love my clients. I actually had one that was attending a succession planning seminar in Atlanta, and she's a client from Philadelphia. And she met another owner who's from Austin, and we just spoke yesterday. And she's a perfect fit for me, willing to be coached, handful of employees. We kind of talk through things, so we're going to start working together in January. What's the odds of that happening, right? Like you're just sitting at a conference, meeting a stranger, and they say, a couple things like, I just don't know my financials like I should. And, my client just looked at her and says, well, you need to call Veronica because she'll help coach you and get you more comfortable with that. And that to me is just amazing.
Yeah. When someone can speak on your behalf, it means so much more. I see why you don't need the elevator pitch. People are doing it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best way to do it, right? I mean, that word of mouth is always going to be king and stuff like that, especially something personal to your business like that. That's going to be so important. So you're really involved in the local business community. What are some improvements or changes you'd like to see in small and minority owned businesses here in Huntsville?
Yeah, so, we're fortunate here in Huntsville. We have a lot of opportunities in our community to help entrepreneurs, right? Through coaching, educating, member meetups, all of those great things. But my perception from my viewpoint is that a lot of us focus on STEM and defense contracting and like the sexy type businesses, right? Small businesses are the root of our community. And I'd love to see more funding available for the non-sexy businesses that's available after the owner goes through a series of like short classes with like hands-on work. Joe, go and do this to your financials, or go and ask your customers these questions. And then after they go through this and they learn, they put together a plan, then come back and kind of do a little pitch, and then you earn a certain amount of funding so that you can reach your next level. And when I say non-sexy, I mean like the laundromats, the restaurants, the everyday businesses that you and I go to, and that unfortunately, a lot of them don't even last 2 years. And the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, it's amazing, but I think it's almost too late because you have to be in operation for at least 2 years. And that automatically takes out more than 30% of small businesses. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And maybe it's not a popular opinion, but I think it's more of introducing the coaching at a much earlier stage, but also having the owner put in the work towards it, and then having there be like an incentive on the back end just to help them grow.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Who do we need to talk to? Let's get this thing going, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do have a client though. She came to me. She was still working her day job, so to speak, and she had gone through some of these like courses, through some of the other programs in town. She came to me with a full blown business plan, had met with bankers, all these other super important people, and Joe was way more than I ever did. Like I literally just jumped. So I was like, wow, this is impressive. I was like, let's do some financials. Let's talk about this. And I talked with her and discovered her goals, and looked at that pricing she had laid out and how much time it would take her on a per customer basis, all these things. It was a service industry. And I said, so at the end of the day, you'll be working for $4 an hour and working, 20 hours a day. And she's like, what? I said, yeah, like, let me tell you what I heard. You told me X, Y, and Z and, all these things. I said, so basic math is this is how many hours a day you're working, and this is how much money you'll be getting. I was like, that's $4 an hour. And she's like, why didn't anybody else tell you? And I said, no one else had asked about the time it was going to take you. I was like, and that is the one thing that we all have a very limited amount of. I was like, and with the projections you put in your plan, you'd be working, more than 20 hours a day. So let's look at adjusting the pricing. Let's adjust the service offerings. Let's adjust expectations. And so we did that. And now she's doing phenomenal. She's in her second year of business here in Huntsville. But I saved her months of agony because she thought what this business plan on paper said was enough to get her going and to get her to a path of profitability. And it just wasn't.
And then you ruined it and brought math into it. How dare you?
I had to bring reality into the mix, Joe.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure she has thanked you over and over because I mean, I know there's business owners listening right now that wish they would have those months saved on the front end for them because it's a struggle when you're first. If you don't have someone like that, a truth teller in your life when you're first starting out, it's brutal, and that's why a lot of people don't make it because they don't have that. So I know she thanks you over and over there for that. So you're an expert at helping other people with pain points in their business. What are your business pain points right now? What are you struggling with?
Finding another me would be amazing. Second to that, I think would be, every month there's different pain points, right? So I guess right now my pain point is 100% on myself. I spend most of my time coaching clients. Q4 is definitely our busiest time of year because we're preparing for 2025. So analyzing my own numbers and sitting down and taking time to be strategic about the next phase of growth, like that's my biggest pain point is, just I'm not being intentional about spending my time on growing my business as I should be.
Oh, man, you're human too. All right, good.
I am human too, unfortunately.
I was getting worried there for a minute because I get caught up in the same thing too. You get caught up in the day to day and forget, hey, we gotta start thinking about the future a little bit. So I completely get it on that. I mean, I'm gonna humble brag on your behalf real quick. So you won the Emerging Business of the Year Award, the Professional Services Gold Award, 2024 Small Business Champion of the Year Award, and those are just a few of the major milestones you reached. Were those moments of validation that you needed, or were there other moments that like kind of, hey, I've made it. I'm kind of making this thing work.
Well, I have not made it, but the awards did mean so much to me. It is validation, but it's validation of the work and the value that the team provides every single day, right? It's great. But honestly, the best validation is when clients see that my advice and data is right and they make the necessary steps to right the boat and then they end up hitting their goal. Sometimes I'll get you were right. I should have done what you advised me to do. And that was pretty good too, because it means that they're learning, right? And that's the purpose of coaching is to educate. But again, like those moments where I just get that validation on, 20 years of experience, almost a decade of education have just truly, truly paid off. And, I was kind of laughing because I had a client call yesterday and she's up in Indiana and she was talking through an issue with a new salesperson. And I'm keeping my mouth shut and I'm nodding and I'm like, okay. And so I'm not going to say it, Joe. And she goes, and let me put it out there, Veronica. You were right. We should have written down on a sticky what the bare minimum expectations were, what the target was, and what the stretch was. She's like, because then we wouldn't be having this conversation on, is it time to part ways or do we wait a couple of months? And I was like, hmm. I was like, but now you know for next time. So sometimes we have to touch the hot plate at the Mexican restaurant, right? We have to touch it just to see, is it really hot? So, it happens.
Man, unfortunately, I'm that guy. I have to burn my hand. Man, I wish I wasn't that guy, but that's me. I mean, I only touch it once, but I have to do it the first time, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
unfortunate. It's a character flaw, but you keep going, right? So you mentioned earlier, you just kind of jumped into your business, and if people don't know, it was right during something called a pandemic. You guys may have seen that on the news somewhere. Did you ever hit a point where you're like, I'm not sure if this is going to work, and if so, what motivated you to keep on going?
So more than a few times, right? Let's be real. Any day we can quit. The path of being an entrepreneur is not sunshine and unicorns every day, no matter what is portrayed out there on the social media or whatever, the awards that you earn. It's full of those moments of, as I said, how do you make the next payroll? How I need another person, but I can't afford them right now. I have to pay how much in taxes? What, where did this come from? But I'm a little competitive and I'm super stubborn sometimes. So yeah, I'm just like, cheers to the haters and let's just prove everybody else wrong and let's just continue to grow this. There's a lot of people in the beginning who were like, "Oh, that's cute. Veronica's gonna, consult a person or two and this will be a little side hustle for her and, almost like patting me on the head." And so that's what I say each day is cheers to the haters to, I'm going to keep getting up every day to support my clients and that's number one. And number two is always to prove the haters wrong. And so, what people thought was a side hustle, I knew would be valuable to clients and to our community. And I knew there was tremendous growth potential. So I'm just going to continue to be me, continue to support my clients how they need to be supported until the last client doesn't need me anymore. So I'm here to stay.
Hey, cheers to the haters. You need to trademark that if it's not already trade. I like that. That's good right there. And I think you need that. I think you need that kind of outside motivation sometime. That yeah, you don't think I can do it? Watch me. Just keep watching. I love it, man. I love it. So, are there any tools or software you're using right now that's help you streamline your business and improve your business?
So it's kind of funny you said that. So, I do provide my clients with a custom financial dashboard and reports that not only report on past performance, but also to forecast future performance. It's an Excel. It's not super fancy. Here's my cup that a client gave me, freak in the sheets. It's just Excel. It's nothing magical. And, I started going down the path of investing in some really great modeling tools, like that could do some really amazing things. And, I started playing around and replicating my existing models in it. And then my business coach asked me to ask a handful of clients, what is it that you value about InSight? And so I did that because I'm a good little student, right? They tell me to do it, I will do it. So I was so excited. And nobody really wants to hear real feedback. So I was also scared. So I will put that out there. But I did go and I asked 5 of my clients, the ones that had been with me the longest, right? The ones that I want to replicate essentially. And their response just about knocked me over because the clients don't value the model. They valued my conversation and my coaching. It's the approach that I use, which starts with financials and boring accounting, and then works backwards into operations, the people and the processes. So while they valued the models, because it was something that was there and that they could see and touch, right? What they truly valued was the guidance. And so I immediately stopped my investment in all of this extra fancy software. And I just leaned more into providing guidance about their business so that my clients can understand the levers to increase their company profitability.
It's pretty wild. Asking your customers what they want and then giving it to them. That's pretty wild right there. I wish that sounds like, I mean, that sounds like a unique approach, but man, no, not many people do that. It's kind of weird.
We make assumptions about our customers.
I do. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, we all do that. And so actually taking the time to just, I was very respectful. After our call ended, I would ask them, do you have an additional 5 minutes that you could give me? I'm working on a homework assignment from my coach and I just need to hear some feedback. And I just asked them that simple question. And every single time I was like, wow, it's not this thing that I stress over and that I try to make perfect with the right font and the right color. It's not that. It's not that. It's the guidance. And it's having somebody else to talk with about the decisions they're about to make.
I'm sure if you're listening right now, you caught that Veronica has a coach and one of her big things is wanting her clients to be coachable, and she is coachable. She's not a hypocrite, putting that out there. That's awesome. Hey, I have a coach too. I am a coach. I hire a coach. I believe in coaching. If you're a coach, you don't have a coach, it looks a little weird to me. I'm not going to lie. So, and if you don't listen to their advice, also weird to me. Why would you pay for a coach and not listen to their advice? But as a coach, Veronica, people do that all the time.
I actually had one client and I said, if you want to continue to waste your money, then you can just send me a check or send me cash, every single month, and we can just skip the phone call because this is a waste of my time and it's a waste of yours. That's during my seasons of pruning. So every once in a while, I'll go through a season of pruning where I need to be real with myself and say, do all of my clients fit my ideal client profile? And if they don't, are they taking the time of somebody who I can actually impact and who will actually go out there and spread the word about what I do? Because having detractors, it's not only wasting my time, it's wasting their time. And they're going to sit at the bar with their friends, Joe, and say how Veronica did nothing for them. And it was a complete waste of money.
Wow. That is a great question to ask yourself this year. If you're coming out 2025, ask yourself that question. If you're a business owner, ask yourself, is it a pruning season? I like that too. I'm going to start using that little term too. Hey, watch out. Watch out if Veronica's asking pointed questions. She may have the shears out this year. Y'all be ready. So you got a strong, professional background, academic background. Are there kind of some habits or routines that have helped you along the way to be successful?
I wish I could say I was one of those people that woke up and made their bed or did something like that. That's not me. I do try and be intentional about my breathing a few times a day. So I'll breathe in for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. They say it helps with stress, anxiety, all the things. I'm not sure if any of that's true, but I know it's really helped me get through rough days and really just every day. Take a minute. I can feel when my body is getting a little too tense. And I'm like, okay, I just need to sit here. I need to work on my breathing. And it's amazing how it really clears my mind and it sets me up to be better for the next call or for the next project or for the team member that needs my help. Just recognizing the physical symptoms so that I can improve my mental clarity.
Hey, I like it. I recommend that the breathing stuff too. So I'm a they. I approve this message, and that's a great technique. Something simple you can do 1 to 2 minutes just during your day. Almost acts like a pattern reset. If nothing else, it'll kind of get you out of a different mode and get you going somewhere else. So I like it. I'm a they. So good job on that one. So are there anyone, mentors, family, colleagues that have played a key role in your journey on your way to being a successful entrepreneur?
Definitely my husband, right? Without him, I wouldn't have taken the leap. He pretty much pushed me out of the plane and said, figure out that parachute works, because he believed in me, right? He believed in the parachute. And quite honestly, him having great health insurance, I do not know if I would have had the courage to do it if I did not have that stability for our family. So it did allow me to embrace the jump. Was it scary? Yeah. Is it still scary? Yeah, but I know that that's the path. My dad, I'm first generation Mexican American, so both my parents were born in Mexico. My dad worked the fields as a child, joined the army after high school, worked as an ERP consultant after that. He subsequently died from cancer from the chemicals from working in the fields in California. But he taught me to work hard and to work smart. And he taught me to always continue learning, whether it's through the formal education process or the informal educational process. And he was the first person I would send my financials to each quarter. I was always excited for him to see our growth. And he was the first person I would ask for advice from if I was willing to hear the truth as the answer, because he could always tell whether I was smoothing out the truth, as I like to say. So he was amazing. Loved him. And then, just from my professional career, I've had a lot of mentors throughout the years, people who believed in me, helped mold my professional career, those that helped push me to levels I didn't think I deserved. And there's a ton of them, so I'm not even going to bore you with all of their names. And then I'd say, but not last, is my advisory board. So I'm a huge believer that every company needs an advisory board. It doesn't mean you have to pay them. Doesn't mean they get to be an owner, but it does mean just being respectful and intentional about who you invite to be on that board and the topics that you're going to need guidance on. I filled my board with areas that I'm not as strong in so that they could provide guidance from opposing views as I go through this journey. And I filled it with at least one person who has already been through the entrepreneurship journey and sold her company. And so she helps fill in the what am I missing? What's the next step that I'm going to see? And my advisory board is just amazing. Just they're very diverse backgrounds and opinions. They are my sounding board. We meet twice a year, and sometimes I'll text or email in between. But it's it also just gives me that stability and knowing that, hey, I'm about to meet with them. Let me table making this big decision until I meet with them so I can hear the opposing views.
That's a great idea. I need to get an advisory board. I've had
Yeah.
something similar in the past, but I got to make it a priority. 2025 advisory board. I'm pruning people. I'm cheers and haters. I mean, I got big plans for 2025. It's gonna be nice.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. So man, your dad, I know he'd be so proud. I know he's proud when he was here. And he'd be so proud to see where you are now and continuing to learn in and out of the profession, formal, informal learning. I know you're still doing that. So cheers to dad right there, man. That's awesome. Who are some local business leaders or business owners that you like to keep up with and respect in this area?
Oh, who do I like to keep up with? There are so many. You're gonna make me call them out because I'm gonna forget some. There are way too many to list because I'm part of so many different organizations, right? I'm part of the Huntsville Chamber Women's Business Council, Fabulous Women there, and the Women's Economic Development Council. I've been a member for probably 10 years, and I have met some amazingly strong women there as well. So I'm not going to list names, but I am going to tell you that entrepreneurship is 100% about relationships. Relationship with yourself, with your family, friends, customers, community, team members. And that's what all businesses have in common, right? It's how you relate. So I take my experiences and all of these people that I've met through all of these fabulous organizations, right? And I try to cultivate a company that truly cares about making an impact, because when we can make that impact for our clients, it helps them grow, which leads to more employees, which means more money in our community, right? Which means we're impacting families. We're impacting our own family every day, right? If you're happy at work, it increases your chances of being happy at home. If you're stressed and hating life at work, you're going to go home with all that baggage too, right? So all of that to say, I'm not going to name names, but they know who they are. And I am so grateful for all of the lessons I've learned from them, and just, that I stalk them on LinkedIn and all of the socials. And I'm like, I want to be like her when I grow up.
Yeah, there's too many powerhouses around here in this city to list. I'm with you on that because someone always gets left out, and you don't want to be that person. So I understand. I appreciate that. And we do have so many cool people around in our area. We are blessed to have a a great, lots of, like you said, the chamber has so many things going on, the economic development, all these things going on. Man, you can't list them all. So this is like, I feel like people should be paying you for this one. What's some advice? Like, I want to start a business. What do I do? Where do I start? What would you do? Something that comes to you. I want to start a business. Obviously, you've got something more in depth, but what would you say? Just some words of advice for them.
Hold on tight. It's going to be a fun ride. And most importantly, be intentional about your time. I mentioned it earlier. There's only 24 hours in each day. Be intentional about, are you using them to reach your goals? So if you have a retail shop, are you at your highest value in the back office with the door closed doing numbers? Or at your highest value out front talking with customers, seeing how your team is interacting with them, finding out what's new that your customers are looking for, right? Asking them, why are they here? What are they looking for? How can I help you better? Is your time serving at a higher value if it's working on marketing, right? There's a million things so make sure that you're using your time at the highest value. Could those back office items be done by someone else so you can focus on growing the parts of your business that have the highest margins, that are going to bring in more clients, right? If you're going to a networking event, that's a 30-minute drive both ways and an hour of being there, maybe even $20 for lunch. So what's your desired outcome? I always say, write it down on a sticky. I'm going to go and make appointments with 2 people at this event. And these are the 2 people I'm going to walk out with. Like, be very intentional, because going to that networking event and being on your phone, texting the office is not the best use of your time. Either don't go at all, or go and turn off your phone and be intentional on what is going to yield the next return for you.
If you're a business owner now, or you want to be, you just saved some people some money, time, effort. This has been great. So many nuggets out there. I'm going to rewind it, mainly just to hear you say cheers to the haters a few times, but so many nuggets that's going to help me as a business owner. I've been in business 15 years, and you offer some things that I need to do to my own business. I know people are listening right now like, man, she could do this in 30 minutes. What could she do for my business full time as a coach? So how do people reach out to you and work with you and as potential clients?
Yeah, so just go out to our website, InsightStrategicSolutions.com. There's a button in the upper right-hand corner. It says, click here to get started. So it's super easy for owners to get started, on the path to reach their goals. And honestly, Joe, just thank you so much for the opportunity to be on here. I mean, this was fun. I feel like it was informative for people. I hope so. And I'm looking forward to that hashtag being cheers to the haters.
You know it. This has been fun for me. It's been fun, also informative too. I think I can tell. I'm a professional, Veronica. Okay. I know these things. So this has been very helpful, very fun. And that's what it should be all about. And you're helping other business owners, whether they work with you or not. You've shown your value and what you can do to help people. So I really appreciate you coming on here. That's what this is going to be all about. We're trying to collaborate and cooperate with other businesses so we can grow Huntsville together, because, help us all out. That's the goal.
I love it. It's a win-win, right?
That's it. That's what we look for. So thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome. You did so much good for everybody on here. I had a great time, and the hashtag is definitely coming. So if you guys are listening right now, hey, if you need some help with your business, don't go alone. You need a coach. I'm just saying, Veronica's right here. All you got to do is click a button to get started. You can try that. But hey, just don't go it alone. Get some help this year. Make 2025 your best year. Please share this episode. Somebody needs to hear what Veronica had to say today. Whether they work with her or not, they need her information. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle Podcast.